wanted to follow up on my dating. Yesterday we had a really good conversation in the gym with the girls and our trainer, the guy, and we just talked about dating and how it can be really difficult to find like a good person who says they are who they say they are, and either they don't, like, they put up a picture that's a couple years old, or they will say, oh, I am so looking to get married and I want to have a family and I only want to date one person at a time, and then you find out that you're one of 4 people that they're going out with or whatever. So we were just talking about some of our like experiences that we had and like what we're looking for, because one of our coworkers, she just started dating this guy that she met online, and so far she's like, so far so good, and she found him, and so of course I'm like, okay, what website did you find him? And she said Hinge. I didn't have any luck on Hinge. I was on Hinge for a very short amount of time, and I just did not like the formatting of the whole dating website. I just wasn't feeling it. Yeah, I would just say if all else fails, I might try that website. But yeah, so I'm continuing on after last week's fiasco with the first guy that I've actually talked to in more than 60 years. Actually, I take it back. I talked to somebody last year for a couple weeks, and that went nowhere. I have the one guy, right? I just love that he's an outdoorsman. He has a really amazing job. He is a planner, which I love. That makes me so happy. And he's a leader, just based off of his Myers-Briggs results. We just talked about a lot of different things, very like baseline, but he is very interesting. And he has dogs, which I love, but he also has bees. He raises bees. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of a guy raising bees, like an outdoors guy. And he's like, yeah, you know, my grandpa used to raise bees, and now I'm doing it because I thought it was cool and I was fascinated by it. So I was like, that's so interesting. For me, like, our conversation is, you know, it's very like baseline right now. We're not getting like overly deep, which is fine. I feel like I've heard from so many girls that, like, you know, the exciting, overly romantic guys are typically not it. Like, it's usually someone that you are like it might be like a little bit boring. That may not be true for everybody, but I just thought that was interesting. So within the past couple of days of we've been exchanging messages, he's got a very cool vibe. He's just fascinating. He's also like goal setter, lifelong planning. He's already thinking about retirement, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really good to hear. There's more I need to learn, but this one I'm very intrigued. And there's another guy. So right now I feel like my strategy is to like as many people as I can, and anyone that like kind of piques my interest, if I'm interested in something they say in their profile, if they're cute, no matter where they are in the country, I'm just gonna show interest and see if they get back to me. So since I've changed up my strategy this week, I have another guy that responded to one of my likes, and he seems pretty nice, and I believe he's in Virginia. So we already just kind of decided, like, already talked about, okay, like, if you were willing to, like, would you move for your partner? And I said, hey, you can't beat California, like, you really can't. So he was good with that. And then I talked to another guy on Sunday who, he was like a coal miner of all things. I'm finding these interesting guys with these interesting jobs. I really didn't have any intention of this going anywhere, but I just thought his job was really interesting. So we talked a little bit, and then the number one thing that I'm always kind of like, I'm not gonna say nervous about, but the only thing I don't like about the website that I'm on right now, and I will not drop the name of the website, is in the app. The only thing I don't like is that they loop all of the Christian people together. They used to have an option for Catholics, and they don't have that anymore. So they're looping everyone together, and there's fundamental differences in Catholicism. Some people who are Christian and they go to like non-denominational churches and stuff, and that's great for them. But for me, I want to raise my family going to one church. Some people do it. I know a family that the mom, she's just, you know, normal Christian gal, goes to a Christian church, but she promised her husband, who's a very devout Catholic, that they would raise their boys all Catholic. And she has held to that promise. They all come together for Christmas. They go to Christmas Mass together, and they've been able to work that out. I don't want to do all that, honestly. I'm like, I just want to just be cool. So I'm like, I just want to just like have my family just be in the same faith. So that's something I'm to like the guy with the big fish picture and like the raising of the bees guy. I haven't talked to him about faith yet, but I'm hoping for the better. I did find one guy that I did find, and he specifically said Catholic. Like when he wrote in his profile, that was like the first 2 words in his thing. I'm looking for like a Catholic woman, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's me, right? So I'm like, specifically. So I liked him. I haven't heard back. We'll see what happens. It just made me feel better yesterday, just kind of like talking about like some of our like dating horror stories, and just some of the challenges of dating online and how sometimes it's not very fun. And so it made me feel better. I haven't been feeling very sad since all this went down. I think I'm a little angry because I'm just like, I'm always like, you just wasted a week of my life. I know it's not much, but time is precious. Moving on, and my other strategy is I am switching up my pictures and changing up my profile picture every couple of weeks just to keep me fresh. And I'm on another app. I'm on Coffee Meets Bagels, and I really haven't had any luck on that. Like I'll get a couple messages for guys and then they disappear. And I honestly feel like if someone's not willing to like answer you back on like a message, then they're not worth going out with. So I'm not willing to like keep reaching out to a guy who doesn't respond to something that I ask. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm going to work. I'm running late again. I had to do my hair this morning. My hair was wet and I had to dry it. It's the whole thing. So yeah, so I have a video coming out, which is today. I think it's gonna be this video. And I think I've been getting a really good response from my last video, even though I felt really vulnerable and uncomfortable sharing all of this stuff. It's stuff I never really share. I know some of my family watch my videos and stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of people who got like dating experiences, especially like when you're 40 and over, and it's just a whole nother vibe, especially if you've never been married before. It was really hard for me to do that, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I've been getting comments from people, which has been really nice and helpful, and people sharing their experiences and their advice of kind of how to like, reshape my mindset. Oh, my mom just texted me. Oh, she's at the doctor's. So I'm just gonna keep holding fast and pray. And tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. I'm trying my best not to get too discouraged and just pray. Every time I go to church on Sunday, I pray, and I pray for my future husband. And there's one guy that stood out to me for many years, and he's gone, and I know he's never gonna move back here. I know this, he's never gonna move back. I haven't reached out to him in a while, but I don't know. So that's something I really need to consider, because like nothing may ever happen for that. But I just figure I'm like, well, you never know. Might as well try, right? So I really gotta think about that, because I'm like, I could get really hurt again, and I don't feel like getting hurt again. Like this guy was perfect. Like I would say, like, I'm not gonna say perfect, but on paper he looked great. And I'm sure he had some character flaws. I totally get it. He was divorced. There's a reason why people get divorced, and maybe it's the partner that they're with, and their values changed. And sometimes people are controlling. Sometimes people don't do enough. Sometimes people, when they're married, they don't live in the same place, and it doesn't work out, and people lead 2 different lives. I don't know, but from what I know, this guy was like top stock. So, anyways, I think about that one quite a bit. So yeah, but I'm gonna keep my search online and see what I can find. The guy that's in Virginia, he's very responsive, which I appreciate, and he specifically tells me, this is like, I've only talked to him for like 2 days, but he's been very specific about, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed right now, but I'm gonna message you in the morning. Is there a good time for me to message you? And I'm like, yeah, you can message me whenever. I don't really care. I'm like, I'll just answer you when I get a moment. So yeah, he's interesting. I'm really hoping for really good probing questions soon. He's raised a couple of questions that have been really interesting, and former military, Air Force, and he's like a little bit of a bigger guy, and I think he's 6'2", which is fine by me. That's great. So we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna keep talking to him and just kind of see what he wants in his life and see if that aligns with me. But so far he's been really sweet, and I really like the fact that he wants to plan and coordinate like our schedules so that we have more time to talk. So well, yeah, we'll see. You know, I don't really have like high expectations or, you know, any draw. And he really didn't say a whole lot in his profile. He just looked really cute and sweet, and, you know, just said what he liked to do. He liked to hike, and, you know, it wasn't anything like mind blowing, but I was like, well, you know, I like this guy, and just talk to him and see what's up. And he responded, so good. Anyways, I'm heading into work, and so I will talk to you guys later. Hi, good morning. It is Valentine's Day, or what we like to call it in the single world, Single Awareness Day. Let's see what is happening today. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on dating vibes. So right now I'm continuing talking to the guy that's in the running, which I'm just talking to the guy from Washington. We are having just really nice conversations, very simple, nothing crazy, nothing too intense. Another guy, I think he's in Virginia. He's been texting me, like he'll text me all day. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that guy. It's really nice to have someone to talk to, but we are not of similar faiths. He's non-denominational, and for me, I think that's great for some, but I'm looking for someone who's Catholic. I really am. So I don't know, and just a couple of things he said, I'm just kind of like, I don't know about, but I'm gonna keep talking because it's hard to kind of like get to know somebody over text. He did ask me if I'd be available like to talk last night, and I said no, because number one, it was late. Number two, he didn't schedule it. And number three, I had my walk, you know, like I wanted to go for a walk and do my normal thing. So I'm like, I don't want to get out of my routine. So I told him no. I mean, if he asks me to talk, I'll just keep it brief and everything. Like, I don't know. Yeah, he's one I'm really, really not sure about. Then there's another guy, and I don't know where he's from either. Forgot. I don't remember. You know, we've exchanged like 2 messages, so nothing like crazy or deep. So what's on tap today for Valentine's Day? Not a whole lot, because I really don't celebrate it other than wearing red. Today's also Ash Wednesday, so that's my priority, is Ash Wednesday. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, usually I go to like mass early in the morning, but I'm just admit to myself that I am not a morning person. So I'm gonna have to catch either like a midday service or go at night. And I'm working out today because I think the best thing I could do for myself is to take care of me, which is the most important thing, and that's the best way I can show love to myself. So anywho, that's what I'm doing. I am actually driving by church right now. It looks like they're just getting out from 8 o'clock mass. So I will not be doing that this morning, but I have some other options that I can go to. And yeah, so those, I mean, really that's my plans. I'm probably just gonna be, I'm still looking through guys and going through profiles, and you know, I'm really focusing on just looking at the guys that have high quality and who like may not be like my typical type, which is like tall and like brown hair kind of vibe. Sometimes brown eyes, sometimes. Yeah, so I'm going like a little bit off of my norm, but you know, it's not a bad thing. And for me, I'm like, of course, I'm like, I have to be attracted to whoever I'm with. So yeah, a couple of these guys are kind of like a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I'm like, you know what, if they have the qualities, and you know, basically if there's a guy that's writing on his profile like, you know, like his goals are to get married and all this stuff, I'm gonna talk to him just to see, or at least like his stuff and see if he responds. So I'm actually getting some movement now since like changing up my profile to really be specific about what I wanted. I've changed up a couple of pictures. I'm changing my profile picture. I just put one up that was recent, and I've had guys like actually talk to me, and normally on this app I just have not had any luck the past couple of years. Hopefully that momentum will keep going, and it would be nice if this was the last Valentine's Day that I was by myself. It'd be nice, but I've been saying that for a long time, and things really haven't changed. And it just reminds me of like when I was like not having expectations or not expressing what you want in a relationship. relationship, and I'm just thinking back to when I was in my long-term relationship for Valentine's Day, and like we never really like did anything that was just like me. There was always like he was a musician, and it was always his work that was a priority, or having a show or whatever. So I typically was the one who wasn't like getting his full attention. It was always like, I have to work and you can come to the gig and all of this stuff, and I'll try to spend time with you. And we'll go to Valentine's Day dinner. And I remember our first Valentine's Day, and we had been in like talking for months, you know, at least like 2 months. And I just had this expectation of what that should look like, but I never communicated that to him for Valentine's Day. And, you know, he had a gig that day. So here I am. I'm like, oh my God, I'm finally in a relationship. And I don't even get to see the guy. And then he brings me like this one single rose, which was, I guess it was okay. But I just was kind of hoping for like a little bit more romance. And I guess because it was new, maybe that was an excuse. But there was like other years in our relationship. I remember it was probably towards the end of our relationship. Like we ended up going to this like this expensive steakhouse or something. And, you know, I'm talking, and he was out of town, and I went out to breakfast, or went out to lunch with his mom, because his mom was cool. And we were talking, and it comes to find out that when he supposedly planned this date, I was like, oh wow, he actually planned it. His mom is the one who actually like got on the phone, made reservations for us. Like finding that out, I just took the whole like romantic element that, wow, he actually planned ahead and he thought of me and thought of what I would like. No, his mom is the one who gave him the idea and put the reservations in. And his excuse was, oh, well, I was out of town and I was busy. And I said, you have a phone. You can call from anywhere. You don't need to be in the same town, right? But I digress. So any tip that I can give for guys for Valentine's Day, for girls, every girl's different. Some girls don't like Valentine's Day. Some people think it's commercialized and you should show love every day. But at least like acknowledge it. Like give her whatever she likes. So if it's dinner and she doesn't like flower, give her dinner. Whatever a woman wants, just specifically ask her, what are your expectations for Valentine's Day? And please be specific, not vague. That's the best way, and do exactly what she tells you to do. If you want to add a little bit to it, great. But I would say like the crux of it, just do what the woman says. It will make your life so much easier, and just follow the little template she gives you, and then you'll be good. Anywho, so I'm sorry about the sun and like all the weirdness with the colors, but I think with that, I am gonna get off of here, and my eye's bothering me right now. And yeah, I would say if you're single, it's Valentine's Day and it's not fun for a lot of us, I would say if that's something you want to change, then I would, you know, get online, start dating, start chatting with people, go to like a speed dating event. I definitely need to go to another one in person, and there's so many other things you can do. And then honestly, just tell people you're single and you're looking, you know, and you know, because this is a day where people ask, oh, it's Valentine's Day, do you have plans today? And mine is always like, no. It's just like, that's it. It's all no. I got nothing going on. But honestly, like, it's okay to be like, you know, yeah, I have nothing going on. It would be nice, you know. And he goes, yeah, because I'm single and it would be nice to actually have somebody on Valentine's Day, but I'm going to do this for myself. You know, I would put the focus back on yourself and making yourself better and stronger, and working on those things in your life that will help you be a better partner. So if you have an ideal for being a perfect, like your perfect partner and what that looks like, then you have to like start like acting like how you expect your partner to be. Like you have to mirror that in your life to, I think, reflect back what you want in your partner. So if you want somebody who's financially responsible like I am, then you got to clean up your own problems. Like you can't you can't just rely on somebody else to solve all your problems. Like, you know, if you want somebody who clearly communicates with you, then you have to work on communication and being vulnerable. I'm working on that right now. Like that's a priority for me. And, you know, and I think within time, that's going to turn things around. And if you got baggage or stuff from your past or anxiety, or you feel unlovable, was sometimes like we do, like, I mean, myself included, you may have those moments you feel unlovable. You got to get to the root of what that is and try to like really take that head on and work to change that, because that's really important, is to change that and to love yourself. So single people, my word to you is do something for yourself today and show yourself some love. I think one of the best ways you can show yourself some love is to work out. And I'm looking at my face, and right now I'm dealing, I think a lot of this like puffiness is lymphatic issues in my face. And so I've been really working hard on just kind of doing like my facial exercises and massages and lymphatic like massage to make sure that I get all of like the fluid and stuff in my face and my body to flush. But anyway, it's not quite working as like I would like. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a quick dating update. Not really dating, but just talking to people online right now. So yesterday I mentioned that if I didn't hear from this guy, if he didn't message me on his own, that I was like not gonna talk to him. So I held out, and he finally reached out to me, which was good. And yeah, so I guess I'll keep talking to him then. So what do I know? What do I know about this guy? I think I told you in my like last email, I mentioned that he has a good job. He's an engineer. And yesterday he said his family has a farm up in Washington. That's what I know. And that's something that he wants to do like later on in life. Once he retires, he wants to have a farm and stuff. And what else? Yeah, he loves to go hunting, hiking, and shooting. So that's what he was doing yesterday. And yeah, and I know what his office is decorated because I asked. I'm notorious for asking like random questions. So I just asked like, what is your, like, do you have your own office? Do you work at home? And if you have an office, like what's in your office? And so he told me that. So it's like been very like bare basic. I know his mom is Norwegian, so that was interesting, and some of their like family traditions, because that was like really important to me. I'm like, what's happening at Christmas time in your family? What do you guys do? So yeah, so I'll just keep talking to him and see what happens, and hopefully this week that we'll just do the phone number exchange and schedule a time to talk. But, you know, I wake up this morning, and I'm sure a lot of women have this, but, you know, I'm sitting there brushing my teeth, and then, like, the whole thought about fertility just pops up in my head, and I'm looking in a mirror, brushing my teeth, and I'm, like, starting to get teary-eyed about it. And I'm like, I don't need this, you know? I don't need this. I decided to come into work. I was going to try to get into work today at 9, and I just was like, I just needed to just take my time. And I'm trying to give myself grace for that. Just stay late, because I don't care if I stay late. I'll work until like 8 o'clock just so I don't have to like come in like too early. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff to like figure out. I'm still looking around for like other guys to talk, because I just don't want to talk to one person right now. So, and I know this guy, he's talking to other people, because he's like telling me, and he's like, oh, like, you know, this girl reached out to me, and, you know, she wanted me to convert, and that was like one of her first questions. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, that one's like a hard pass. So far, like, so good. He likes a variety of music. He does dance. He likes country swing dancing, something like that. So yeah. Ooh. So anyways, that's pretty much my update today, and I'm just going to try to put on my fake Happy Monday face and try to get through today and keep working towards some of my goals, my dreams. It's just like I wake up immediately and I'm just kind of like in a negative headspace, which is not cool. So, and it's all about like where I'm not at in my life. And I think a lot of people will be like, well, just don't think like that, you know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people just don't talk about like what happens in their head. Also, really quick, I'm watching this TikTok, like, I'm gonna call it a series, but there's this girl, and she is talking about, it's called like, Who the F Did I Marry? And she's just telling this like horror story of she married this guy who ends up being a pathological liar. And of the like red flags that she had that she ignored because she was basically like, you know, I don't know if she didn't say like how old she is, but she's like, I just was like ready to get married and I wanted to have a family, and this guy came up and he like had everything that I wanted. And, you know, and she like talked about like the desperation that she felt, that she really felt like time is running out. And I think so many of us can so identify with that. Like I definitely can. And she just talked about how she ignored the red flags, like all of these red flags, to the point that she started like these voice recordings, and just to like, as she was driving to work, just to kind of like get her mind, like to get the thoughts out of her head. And it's just so sad. So I'm like on part 10. I fell asleep watching the part 10, and there's like 50 of these. So I will continue to listen to these today. But I was just like sitting there, and she knew like good and well, like a lot of the stuff did not make sense. And she just pushed it off. And she got to the point where she was just kind of like, well, let's see what he's going to lie about next. It was just really fascinating, the life and what we're willing to put up with for just having someone in our life. And giving us the illusion that we're loved and cared for and taken care of, even though all of the things that she thought she had, being taken care of, being able to get a home, having a guy that had, you know, a quote unquote money to be able to take care of her, was absolutely just fictitious, completely false. So it's just really sad listening to this, but I can so identify with just putting up with something for a long time just because you don't want to be by yourself, and having to kind of wage that war inside of yourself when you know damn well that you shouldn't be with someone, and you're just like, well, maybe I'll give them one more chance, or making excuses for them. So anyways, I am going to continue on with the series, but I think I like her series because she does it kind of similar to what I do. Is she does recordings on the way to work or driving somewhere, and so I'm kind of like, oh, I so feel this vibe, you know. So I think I should just do a whole series. I think just in response to like what happened and like kind of some of the red flags that I know that I ignored, and some of the experiences that I have had that are similar, where I knew in my heart that like something was going on and something wasn't right, like in my relationship or with the person, and I didn't follow through on it. And then the time that I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because I just felt like immediately that something was completely off. And I just was like, I'm not going to stay in this relationship because I have this intuitive feeling that something is off. Something doesn't feel the same, and something's in the middle of our relationship, and it's not a positive thing. Like I think there's like a wall. So yeah, I think I'll do a series on that. It's probably really depressing, but you know, hey, I'm sure someone's going through it. But yeah, so if you haven't had a chance, just type in pathological liar, and she's this African American girl from Atlanta. And so look her up and start watching the series, and you can catch up with me, but it's going to be worth